Okay, so weekly rocket report. This is for what's today? 12 December 5th, 2005 or 2025. Awesome. So Rocket is again 18 years, 6 months, coming up on 7 months actually. Next week. Yeah, he's actually 18 years, 6.5 months old because 7 months will be next week, I think. Or coming up. It'll be the 15th, which is 10 days away. So a little over a week. He's away from his 18 years, 7 months old. And he's getting grumpier as he gets older, but he's doing okay. Um, if you were here earlier this week, we talked about this. We took him to the vet again. We took him to the vet on Tuesday. Um, Not for anything bad. Who isn't? Well, some of us are aging faster than others. We'll just put it that way. Some of us are aging faster than others and not dealing with it as well as some of others. Humans and animals alike there. But anyway, so took him to the vet on Tuesday. Not for any particular reason other than Mrs. Gimpy got an email from our vet saying, "Oh, if you bring your pet in for an exam before December, whatever, we'll give you 50% off or $50 off the exam cost or something like that. I don't know exactly what it was." She goes, "Oh, we got to take Rocket in." I go, "Okay, really? Do we really need to?" And she goes, "Yeah, he's not sleeping as well as he should be, and all this other fun stuff and whatever." And for those keeping track at home, Rocket is currently taking one official medication and one unofficial medication. The unofficial is CBD oil for the most part. He gets it in two different forms. One is a physical treat um, that we use for a slower, longer lasting effect from time to time. And if you're looking at the lower left hand corner of your screen, that's the funds we use to raise for those particular treats, as well as CBD oil actually comes in an eyedropper, or comes in a bottle, use an eyedropper to give it to him. Um, he likes both. He likes the solid treat and he likes the liquid treat. Um, and they're both easy to give to him. You just, like I said, the solid treat, just it's the actual treat. He only gets the half of it because it's based on weight. Because there's it's like 25 milligrams of CBD stuff in one particular treat, and he's only based on weight, and he's only supposed to be getting half of that. So I break the treat in half, give it to him, he's happy. And again, it's because he has to digest it. It gets into his system. It's a little bit slower, but it stays in the system longer as a result. And then for other needs, and we try to give those treats to him at least once a day. And then that we have the oil that comes in the bottle, and that I think he gets in a dose of 25 milliliters, which for some reason isn't the same strength as 25 milligrams. I don't know how that works. I'm not a chemist or a pharmaceutical person, so I don't know how that actually works. But he gets 25 millimeters of that, milliliters, and give it to that. Just take the eyedropper, put the oil right into palm of your hand, put it in front of his face, and he likes the smell of it, he likes the taste, and so he goes for it, no problem. So we have no problem getting the CBD to him. So anyway, that's the unofficial, not so harsh stuff we use. And again, that's when you see the there in the lower left hand corner. That's what that money is primarily being used for. It's also being used to supplement his official pharmaceuticals that we get from the vet. He's been using crap. I forget the name. It starts with a G. I don't know exactly. I always forget the name of it, but it's different because CBD is primarily for slight anti-inflammatory, slight pain killing, and slight what is it? Relaxation, I guess is the right word. I use CBD stuff myself. I do CBD gummies. I've been doing it for God almost over 2 years now. I think it's been. It seems like I have to check my records, but it's close to 2 years now. And I started using those CBD gummies. I take them a couple times a day. Usually in there, I think 25 milligrams. Yeah, 25 milligrams for gumming. I take those. I take one before the stream, and I take another one before bed, and sometimes I'll take another one during the day, depending on how my joints and stuff are doing. And again, same concept, you know, helps with a little bit of inflammation thing, pain stuff, and of course, relaxing, not a big deal. I don't really notice the relaxing stuff unless I take more than two. If I take two or more, I usually need to take a nap, but one doesn't really bother me. And for Rocket, it's kind of the same deal, I think. If we get his CBD doses too close together, he seems to sleep a little bit more than normal, which is not a bad thing. So, but again, I primarily use it for dealing with my headaches that I have all the time, and the CBD definitely when it kicks in, I don't really notice it, but when it wears off, I do notice it because the headache is much more obvious at that point, and or because it's like when it kicks in, I have a headache and I don't realize the headache has gone away until it fades, until the medication, fades off. It's not really medication, but this stuff wears off after about 3 or 4 hours or so. It starts wearing off, and it's like, oh, the headache comes back. It's like, oh shit, it was working. So it's one of those deals. And but anyway, so I figured that's the same way it works for Rocket, and that's why we use it. And it's not super expensive, and that's what it is. So that's what you're funding that way. But anyway, pharmaceutical, the main one that he's taking is it's not an anti-inflammatory. It's basically it's how it relieves pain. It does it differently than an anti-inflammatory does. Mrs. Gippy and I had this conversation actually this week after we were into the vet and stuff. I was just reinforcing how what he's on that it's working compared to what an anti-inflammatory NSAID would do. NSAIDs being like ibuprofen type stuff, but for dogs. And that's not what he's on for reasons because he doesn't react well to those, as we found out the hard way. The hard way being it screws with his GI system, meaning that he gets loose stools and it's not a pretty sight and it lasts way longer than it should. So we don't use those on him. And so that's why we're using this other stuff, which is, again, it's supposed to help with pain, but it doesn't do it through anti-inflammatory means. It deals directly with how the brain interprets pain. Basically, it's telling the brain that you're not experiencing pain. That's how it's supposed to work, and it seems to work. And it also makes him sleepy. Side effects are could be GI stuff, but it hasn't been for him so far, which is good. But another one of the side effects is it makes his legs weaker, which I'm not sure is an actual side effect of the medication itself, or is it just from sleeping more? Because being older, sleeping more means your muscles, atrophy more quickly. So getting up is a little bit harder because your muscles just aren't as strong as they used to be. But anyway, it's helping him sleep, and he doesn't. And you can tell it when it's kicking in for him. Not that he's sleeping, because instead of making him sleep right away, because it's helping his pain, he gets more active. And so he wants to walk more. And so the middle of the night when the medication kicks in, instead of going to sleep, he decides he wants to do laps around the condo all night long, which is really annoying because that's not what we wanted. And so on Tuesday we went to the vet and said, do we have anything else we can use on him that's going to help him sleep a little bit more? Because this new medication is actually keeping him awake longer. And so the vet gave us another medication to use, and this one is, again, not an NSAID. It doesn't do anything for pain or anti-inflammatory, that kind of stuff. It's specifically a sleeping pill, basically, is really what it is. Help him relax so he can calm down and go to sleep. The downside is he said don't use these medications at the same time, because that was our first question, is how close can these medications be given to him? And he just kind of he was going to say not too close. You really don't want these two medications being given too close together because it might make him too tired. And, the implication there was as in he might not wake up. So he said, so I said, so about 6 hours apart. And he said, yeah, that's good. 6 hours should be plenty. And why 6 hours? Because the pain medication is twice a day. He gets is it two? Yeah, he gets 2 100 milligrams per day. And so 12 hours apart there. And then the new stuff is just once a day. And it's just half a tablet for him, whatever that dosage is supposed to be. Hey, Vukuls, welcome back. So he gets, so he's getting, well, he hasn't actually got too much of the new stuff, just simply because there hasn't been a need for it for the most part. Well, it's not so much a need as in we don't want to get too close to the administration, giving the two medications too close to each other. And what happens is, since Tuesday, I think we've given him the new stuff once. He's gotten 1/4 tablet because we were trying to make sure that he wasn't gonna overreact to it or see what it was gonna do to him. So as we always do with the first time he gets the medication for the first time, we always give him half of a dose that he's supposed to be getting. So in this case, it's supposed to be half a tablet for him because it's based on weight, and in this case, we gave him half of the half tablet, so a 1/4 tablet, just to make sure everything works fine. And he got one of those. I think it was Tuesday night or was it Wednesday morning? I forget. I think that was Wednesday morning. So because we wanted to give it to him during the day, so we could actually watch him to make sure everything was good. Because having stuff go wrong in the middle of the night with the dog is kind of a pain in the ass. So anyway, so he got that on Wednesday, and he did fine. He was relaxed. He slept pretty good during the day, which is not that unusual for him anyway. And we gave it to him far enough. So was it 6 hours away from either one of his previous dosage of the other stuff. So we would have 6 hours, before the next one, that kind of thing. So we did that, and it worked fine. And then we haven't given it to him since. Because there hasn't been a need to. Because we've just decided, well, there has been a need, but the problem has been that the other medication, because it's on a 12-hour cycle, we've been trying to rotate the cycle or move it around so that we can get the sleeping medication to be nighttime. So we're shooting for sometime around 10 p.m. Bedtime. Give him the new stuff and have that kick in so he sleeps, and then we give him the other stuff. It actually has to be in the middle of the night because of this whole 6 hour, or almost the middle of the night, because 6 hours after 10 is 4 o'clock in the morning. So, which isn't that bad, but it's kind of hard to get it timing there, simply because usually at 4 a.m. he's asleep, and it's hard to wake him up when he's sleeping. And not hard as in he won't wake up, it's hard for us to do it because 4 a.m. is a rough time to be up as a human. Just to be honest, 4 a.m. is a rough time to be up, especially when you've been trying to babysit the dog all night, because he decided that he'll take his medication, his pain medication, is supposed to help him sleep at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and then he decides, I've got lots of energy because this medication makes me feel good, and it kills the pain, so I can get up and move around. So that's what he does until like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's like, oh, this is not the way it's supposed to be working. So we're working on the system still to get a nice little balance between keeping his pain good for him, as well as him being able to sleep all night, as well as us being able to sleep all night. Because Mrs. Gimpy and I, we are not young, and we like to get our sleep. And right now we are doing the taking turns babysitting Rocket at the middle of the night. Last night was my turn, and I've got 2 hours of sleep. 3? I think I got 3. Well, technically it wasn't last night. I got an hour between, I think, 10 and 11, roughly. Because I think I fell asleep I tried to go to sleep somewhere around 10 when Rocket was sleeping, but then he woke up at 11. And then he was up until 4? I think he was up until 4 or 5. Yeah, he was up until 5. And then, so that, after he lays down for a little bit, okay, he's going to be down for a little bit. So I wait for about 15, 20 minutes before I even attempt to go to sleep, because I've learned my lesson on that one. And he stayed asleep. And so I said, sure, I'll go to sleep now at 6 a.m. And I slept until 8. So I got 3 hours of sleep last night. So, but otherwise, he's doing good. Mrs. Gimpy took him out for a walk this morning, and we got really good weather this time of year, of course, because it's Southern California, December. We don't have winter here. It's a chilly night, but once the sun comes up, it wasn't too bad, because you didn't take him out until like 10 or so. So, but he did well. As he said, he came back in, and he was panting, and he had to get his drink of water, and he was good. He's walking around really good, real, stumbling about or anything like that, which is a good sign that he did well on his walk. And Yeah, he's doing good. I mean, he at night time asked me at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll have a different opinion. But now that I've had 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep, whatever it is, and I've been up for a couple of hours, you know, I got a better attitude about it. But ask me at 3 o'clock in the morning, and my opinion is very different. So, but no, he's an adventure, but he's good. He's good. So pictures. Oh, we just did go past the two new pictures for this week. We have normally we try to get one new picture into the slideshow here every week, but this week we have two. Why two? Because that's how many pictures we had to play around with. We actually have more pictures than two. It's just that it when we take our pictures, they usually come in groups of like say 2 to 6, and I usually pick the best one, or at least I feel is the best one, and we try to shoot it in or include it here in the weekly Rocket Report slideshow, and go from there. We also try to put pictures into the album that we actually have too, and sometimes we get more pictures in that one because it's more. It's just that's what the album is for. It's to collect all those pictures. So anyway, if you want to check those stuff out, just there's a link in chat if you want to check out the album, which is actually from the last 5 or 6 years now. That includes Mickey, Rocket, and Scout, the cat that used to live here. Oh, funny side story here. When we were taking Rocket to the vet on Tuesday, we had a 8:30 in the morning appointment, and that the way we took to get to the vet, we had to go by this elementary school a couple of blocks from where we live. And as we're Mrs. Skimpy decided to go down this road. I don't know why. Because we had Rocket was freaking out. That was it. He does not like being in the car, and he started freaking out a lot. And we had to make a quick little pit stop to get him out and uh, get him calmed down. Basically, when you put him on the ground, he calms down. So we had to make a quick little pit stop right near the school. And we get back in the car, and as we get back onto the road, and we're going down, and we're passing by the school, and we have to go real slow because kids are going to school, and Mrs. Gimpy goes, "Oh, there's Scout's owner," and I go, "What?" She goes, "That's her right there. That's Scout's owner. She looks like she's walking her kids to school." So, so as we've known for a while, Scouts has not moved far away from us, and I thought she had gone the other direction, because the direction we went to go by the school is to the south of us, and I thought Scouts owners had moved to the north of us. And I told Mrs. Cupid, I thought they were the other way from us. She goes, so did I, but maybe they moved again already or something. I go, well, that's kind of crazy, but okay. No Scout sighting though, but we did, Mrs. Gimpy, said, oh, but that's her though. I said, are you sure? And I go, yeah, that's her. Those are her kids. So we diverted and stole back Scout. No, we did not. No. Divergent. Just a second. Be right back. Sorry, Mrs. Gimpy was confirming with me that we keep a logbook of when we give Rocket his medication. And she came in here and she goes, is it time for his medication? I went, I don't know. She goes, well, you wrote down in the logbook 1 a.m. last night. And I went, okay. I don't remember. I'm working on 3 hours of sleep. If that's what the logbook says, that's what it was, because that's when I wrote it down. So she goes, okay. So she's got to give him his medication. Anyway, because as you can see at the bottom, it's you might we're adjusting the times too, or trying to adjust times, but she's probably going to wait until closer to 1 more than likely. That's what it looks like. Okay, so anyway, so Scout has not been spotted, but her owner has, and so that's a nice little side story there, right? What else? Oh, new pictures. There's Rocket in his little Rocket the burrito. That's Mrs. Gimpy's robe from, was that last week or the week before? I think that might be 2 weeks ago. That's a picture from last week. Tongue is out, right? That's a picture from this week. You can't see it, but his tongue is out. they have a couple more pictures where it shows, and then that's the one where you're sleeping on the porch, just getting a nap in, and that little dark spot to the left of him. That's where one of the puddles in our porch forms, and he likes to sleep in that spot. The tongue must always be out. Well, the tongue usually is out. It's just you can't always see it, depending on the angle. But it's out 99% of the time. You saw on the porch it was really out because his tongue was really pink. But anyway, as I was saying, that if that picture comes back around, if we get that far, you can see that the surface is a little bit darker to the left of him, and that's where one of the puddles forms right there. And he likes to sleep there. There was no water in that particular picture, but the dirt collects there from the runoff or whatever, and he likes to sleep in that spot, which is the puddle. And every time he does that, he needs to get a bath because it's dirty water. It's not clean water because it's said they screwed up when they resurfaced our porch earlier this year, and they were supposed to make it so the water runs off because our porch, it's a big rectangle, and in the farthest corners away from our doors are the drains for the water supposed to go down to the ground level. And when they first did the resurfacing is they made the porch flat, so the water just collects into a bigger pool. Basically, we have this little pool of water on our porch, and which was causing the issue in the first place, that our porch, the water collects and on the porch, and then it damages stuff, and as a result, our porch needs to be resurfaced every few years because these guys don't do it right every time. And so this time, when they came out to do it, we said, we need to make sure that we have the porch is a little bit higher, closer to the wall, of the building, and so that the water runs off towards the drains in the corners. And they go, they said, we usually do that. And we said, okay. They didn't the first try. So, because we watched them do their little surface thing, you could tell they were working on it or trying to do it, get it angled, but they didn't do it enough. And as a result, they created two puddles or potential puddles closer to the drains, but they were still these nice big puddle areas. And we pointed, and when they're doing their testing, it's like I was watching them do their tests, and the water wasn't going all the way to the drains; it was just collecting there. And I said, "Are you guys going to fix that?" And the guy who was working on it goes, "Fix what?" I go, "The water. It's not draining properly. You don't see that." And he goes, "Oh yeah, we thought that was okay." And I go, "No, that's not okay. This is why you guys are out here right now. It's because when you guys don't do this right, we have to have our porch resurfaced every few years." And he hummed it on. I go, "Where's your boss?" And he goes, "Oh, he's not here today." And I go, "Could you have him call us?" And he called us, and he said, "Okay, I'll take care of it." And they kind of took care of it, but they still didn't do it completely. And as a result, we still have that one puddle area that they still haven't fixed. And we just gave up because it's just like, ugh. because there's the two big spots, and the second spot is, we'll just say, to the right of our front door. We don't notice it as much because our table that's out there, we have a nice little patio set type deal. We have a table and a couple of chairs, and we don't notice the puddle too much because the base of the weighted base we have for our umbrella, so it doesn't blow away stuff, is basically kind of in the middle of where the puddle forms, so you don't really notice it so much. And the base it doesn't care. It's just a big heavy piece of metal. Is really well, it really is. It doesn't care about the water, so it's there. It's probably going to be a problem in a couple of years, but we'll worry about that in a couple of years, I guess. But then the second puddle, which is to the left of the front, well, actually, it's not even to the left of the front door. It's almost directly in front of the front door, and that puddle is the one that Rocket likes to sleep in. He's doing his laps around he does his laps around the porch, and then eventually he goes, "I'm tired," and he just plops down right in that particular spot. And if there's water there, he gets a free bath. That's not really a bath, but I collected all the dirt because of the way water is, and so it's a problem, and we're just gonna have to live with it for now because our HOA sucks, and the contractors they pick are usually not the best, and not to say they're bad at their jobs. It's just they're not the best at what they do, and they're always in a rush and that kind of stuff because they have so much work to do around here. They can't put in the time they need to do things correctly, so they rush through everything as a result. And as a result, everything's kind of half-ass. So what are you gonna do? Anyway, what's that got to do with the weekly arc report? Well, because Rocket likes to sleep in puddles again. So, and of course, the little burrito. Okay, I think that's it. I think we're good for today. Again, picture from last year or last week. Sorry, last week, and that's from this week. I think that was like Tuesday. I think that was actually after the appointment. Yeah, that was. And this was, I think, from Wednesday. See the little pink tongue? So, more the problem with the collection than the worker skills. Um, I don't know. Because, like I said, it's our HOA is infamous. I'm not saying famous, I'm saying infamous for going for the cheapest stuff, cheapest way to get things done. And as a result, they hire contractors that are not top of the line because you're getting what you pay for. There's a you get what you pay for is a very valid expression. It's not always true. The more you pay, the better the quality, but almost always the less you pay, the lower the quality. That is almost entirely true. It's you know it's and like I said, it's not like these guys are bad guys or anything. They're typically it's not they're more inexperienced than bad workers. Because just to be clear, it's not like they're not doing the job. It's just they don't seem to know exactly how to do their job, which usually indicates, that they're just not experienced doing that kind of work. Doing that kind of work. And said, I'm not knocking them for being bad workers. I'm just knocking them for being inexperienced on what they're doing. Again, they may be really good at doing something else, but what they're doing for us is not their primary focus. So they're not very good at it. So, Gray, I'm attending the Bachelor of the Two Kid. No, no. I got other things to do. I got dogs to talk about. But welcome back, Gray. But anyway, got sidetracked there, and we're running late. So we should get started doing stuff. Let's see if this fixes, or see if this is gonna work today. Oh, I fixed it. No, I didn't. I haven't turned it off yet. Oops.
Oops. Is that all you can say? That was really poorly done.
I agree. Okay, turn that off. Go back here. It worked. I fixed it finally, I think. I think I finally fixed my mute button issue. Or not the mute button. Well, it's a mute button, the image thing, basically.